Europe.
So it's time once again to delve into the Sunday papers. Here with me reviewing them today are the author and journalist Nikki Hodgson and the broadcaster and writer Edward Adu. So welcome back to both of you.
Hi Anna, hi Nikki.
We've dealt with quite a few of the front pages, haven't we, in the last hour? So let's get stuck inside them, Nikki. And you've picked out a double-page spread in The Sun on Sunday titled Fat Lot of Good. So what are they saying?
Yeah, so this is basically about the calorie counts that have appeared on menus that we've had for about a year now. And it's kind of concluding that they don't work. They're not doing anything to tackle the country's problem with obesity. Currently, a quarter of all adults in the UK are obese, and nearly 40% are overweight. So, you know, it is a problem. It's a problem for the NHS because it's costing the NHS £6 million a year. The problem with the calorie counts on menus is that it doesn't understand the psychology of why people choose a meal with lots of calories in. We've all been there. We've had a bad day at work. We want some comfort, so we pick something that maybe isn't that good for us because it feels nice to eat. It makes us feel better. And I think in all the talk about the obesity crisis in Britain, we never think about the feelings, the emotions that people are having and the reasons they choose food. The Sun points out that it's really because of the cost of living crisis. You know, the food that's not so good for us tends to be cheaper, and that's the reason people are picking it on menus. But I do think there's something to be said for, you know, people's lives not being so fun and interesting. And, you know, it's just easy to get a McDonald's because it does cheer you up.
What's your thought on this, Edward? Do you think that's right, that people tend to choose food for different reasons, either emotional reasons or they're worried about the cost rather than looking at the calories?
Totally, I've fallen into that trap. There was a point where I was unemployed for quite some time. This was like in the early noughties, and I literally didn't even have a fiver or a tenner, and I would pop into my local chicken shop, and that would keep me going for a day. After I was hustling, handing out CVs to people, hoping to get a job. So I think it's, you know, Nikki's right. It's about lifestyle. It's about what people are doing, and obviously the calorie count. When someone walks into a fast food outlet, they're not thinking, okay, I need to kind of balance things out. They're thinking, I'm here because I just need to unwind. I need to de-stress. I need to enjoy myself. I need to have a burger. I need to have a milkshake or a chicken or whatever, whether it's a vegan meal. And that's what people are doing. I think there is a lost connection between people who are implementing the calorie counts or trying to enforce, i.e. the specialists, trying to tell people you need to cut down, this is the way forward. Because I've always said to people, I mean, I work mainly at night, DJing and on the radio. If you're hungry at midnight, where can you go to get a healthy meal? And I'm not discrediting the fast food outlets, but if you want to eat if you want to have a healthy meal at midnight, there's nowhere to go. So the thing is, some people are put in that trap.
Yeah, there are so many different scenarios. I don't think greengrocers are going to open for you at midnight, though. But it's worth a try, Edward.
You'd be surprised, Anna. Actually, there's a place around the corner from me.
That's
they open
so true.
24 hours.
Yeah, there you go. You need to go there, buy an orange. Anyway, let's move on to a very serious story that you've picked out, actually, Edward, in The Observer, about survivors of the Grenfell fire, unhappy about some dramatisations of the event.
So, they're unhappy. The BBC wants to make a TV drama. The National Theatre believe they want to create a play out of what happened. And I mean, let's take it back to it was awful. I remember listening to the radio late night and heard what happened. And when I looked on my TV screen to see what was going on, it was just frightening. It was shocking. Sadly, 72 people lost their lives back in 2017. Now, the question which a lot of people are asking is they're not very pleased. It's with I think it's the National Theatre and the BBC who want to do this. It's about the inquiry. People still want a lot of questions. They haven't been able to get the answers on the inquiry and everything connected to it. I sadly, close family friend, lost one of their relatives, a very close friend of mine who lives in the area and speaks to a lot of campaigners and people who just want to get answers on this. They clearly haven't been given answers. The issue here is locals may want this to happen if they're allowed to get the answers which they require, but I think even though it's, 6-7 years on, it's possibly too sensitive to even go to even have a drama series about it. I mean, we've got to point out Steve McQueen made a silent film about it, which was well received because he's a local. So I think it's about possibly having someone who is relatable, who knows the area, who knows the people, and in order for this to happen.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they've talked about having their experiences stolen, don't they? And yet, the defence from the BBC and the National Theatre is the productions are based on local testimonies and lengthy periods of research within the community, but clearly a very sensitive topic there. Nikki, take us on to, which newspaper is this all about spiders?
I think it's
the Mirror.
It's the Mirror, yes.
Mirror. Yeah, insects, they could be more helpful than we might think.
Well, we hear so much about how we are going to be eating insects, aren't we? Because, there's not enough food and they're a kind of a renewable source and all the rest of it, and people are not very keen on that. But this is about spiders being used in surgery to repair nerves. So basically the silk that spiders produce and also silkworms can be made into tiny tubes that bridge gaps between damaged nerves, and it's particularly useful in trauma surgery and with cancer patients. And the guy that's come up with this, Dr. Woods, he was a trauma surgeon, and he says that surgery that previously took 4 hours could be done in 20 minutes once this is rolled out. They've been testing it on rats, and they are hopeful that it'll be ready for the NHS by 2025.
That is extraordinary, isn't it?
It's amazing. I mean, obviously, we already use porcine stents in heart surgery, so we are used to using animal parts to, in our medicine. But this is just kind of, there's a leap of imagination there, which is just amazing.
It really is. Edward, let's very quickly, I don't know if we've got time, car spying. Can we do that in the Telegraph in about 20 seconds? I'm not being very fair on you, am I?
Well, apparently all these new gadgets, they're basically saying that we're being spied on. I mean, I've got an electric car. There's so many gadgets around. I'm hoping that my conversations and whatever I'm doing in the car hasn't been recorded.
Quite.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
They'll also be checking whether you're delving into your chicken bucket as well. Anyway, Edward and Nikki, lovely to see you both. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.